Your style is less personal than you think. Now, hear me out, but this is an idea that I've been contemplating for the past few months. The pursuit of personal style dominates our social media feeds. We all want to find it, and we want to find it now. If I asked you what your personal style was, you might have an answer for me like, I like quiet luxury, or I love feminine silhouettes, or I'm drawn to maximalism. Maybe you've already distilled your style down into 3 words as per the Alison Bornstein method, and you use that to guide the way that you get dressed in the morning. But I'm curious, how much of what you wear today has been influenced by what is currently popular? And compare that with how you used to dress 5, 10, or even 15 years ago. In the 2010s, millennial minimalism was everywhere. Capsule wardrobes, all neutrals, and the clean girl aesthetic. In the 2000s, it was an era of maximalism. Rhinestone embellishments were everywhere, slim-fitting jeans were in, and print mixing was huge. Maybe you even had a juicy couture sweatsuit or one of those iconic bubble necklaces. Trends subtly push us in a direction, making certain styles feel current while others feel outdated. Think the skinny jeans versus straight leg jeans debate. The question is, how much are these trends influencing your fashion choices today? Fashion used to move in decades. In the 70s, bell-bottom jeans dominated. In the 90s, grunge fashion had a huge life cycle. But today, trends are moving at lightning speed, and part of that I feel has to do with TikTok. I mean, remember cottagecore, balletcore, the dark academia aesthetic, the coastal grandmother vibe? All of these feel like such a flash in a pan looking back, but when you're in it, it feels like it's all encompassing, like it is all around you. This is a sped up trend cycle where styles go from being trendy to outdated in the space of less than a year, maybe even months or mere weeks. And it's not to say that we're participating in all of these trends, but more thinking about how these subtly move the needle and push the fashion zeitgeist and shape the way that we're getting dressed today. And look, while I'm no expert, I do feel like when we're younger, our style is more elastic and we're also more prone to introducing trends because we're still in this period of experimentation. We're exploring the boundaries of our style. So our wardrobe is going to be more malleable in order to suit all of these different aesthetics that we're kind of giving a try. And I mean, it makes sense because in our younger years, we're buying less into the idea of building an outfit with balance and structure that highlights or accentuates certain elements, and instead seeking to put together outfits that just make us feel a sense of joy or make us feel good, or maybe are just allowing us to fit in with our peers. And actually, I do think social pressures have a lot to speak for when it comes to how we enclothe ourselves, but I feel like maybe that's another topic for another day. But really, what I was thinking is that the sped up trend cycle is a huge part of the reason why many people feel lost when it comes to identifying and really defining their personal style, because we're being bombarded with ideas but no time to actually explore them. As I've said before, good things take time. To truly understand what you do and don't like, you kind of need to marinate in it a little. You need to take time to experiment, to become besties with the items that you own in your wardrobe, to style them up in a myriad of different ways so that you can understand how you do and don't like to wear these things based on your own judgment and not the judgment of others. Wearing things on repeat rather than replicating an outfit that you've seen on Pinterest is really one of the true keys to personal style, because you're building on what it is that you feel most you in, rather than wearing something that has been popularized or perhaps become socially accepted as the pinnacle of style because it's being repeated ad nauseum across our social media feeds. Because social media really reinforces ideas on how we should be dressing. You start to see the same items or the same types of items paired in very similar ways, and what this does is it signals to us that this is the right way to get dressed. This is the right way to wear those items in our wardrobes. It requires very little critical thinking because we're seeing it in abundance, and it really does create a bit of a pendulum shift here, even if you're not consciously thinking about it or consciously consuming this kind of content. As a segue, before social media, we were relying on magazines to help set the trends and tell us what we should be wearing. We had socialites like Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie who were setting the trends, and we were out there emulating the way that these women were dressing because that was what was considered fashionable at the time. If I'm to use myself as a case study, it's glaringly obvious how much of an impact trends have had on the evolution of my own personal style. Something I'm sure has been amplified by my drive to connect with people who also had an interest in fashion from the age of 18. My early 20s were dominated by ruffled designs and loud maximal prints, platform heels, chunky necklaces with gaudy gemstones, which was then followed by the capsule wardrobe movement, which I discovered and took great joy in minimizing my closet down to a sea of black, white, grey and navy. Slowly my style morphed into being something quite minimal and stark. Now the influence I see in my wardrobe namely centers around color trends like butter yellow, chocolate brown and burgundy. Online, there's another direction that I'm seeing, this desire to be unique, to have a wardrobe that only you have. The irony being that many of these wardrobes actually end up looking the same. They've got the same kinds of prints, they've got the same kinds of colors, the same kinds of chunky beaded necklaces. And it's not to say that there's anything wrong with this, but I do feel like this adds credence to my theory that personal style is dictated a lot more by trends than we think. So how do we break this cycle? An obvious way to do this would be to build a wardrobe that doesn't depend on trends for guidance and prioritizes function above all else. If you subscribe to my Substack, then you'll be familiar with my 10 item capsules. 10 items every month styled a myriad of different ways, which I always hope provides you with a heavy dose of inspiration. And while I have 10 items in these capsules, I never prescribe specific pieces for your own wardrobes because what we crave is different. Instead, I really make sure that I am outlining why I've included said piece so you can draw in from your own lived experience, your own wardrobe and your own taste to find something that can play that same role. And this is something that is reinforced daily as my work as a personal stylist, getting an intimate look into many other women's wardrobes. While this is not exactly related, to some extent I have to say I agree with the statement that timeless does not exist. Especially in our modern age, it's hard to say with true conviction that something is really timeless. Take for example the trench coat, which has been around for the last 2 centuries, give or take. About a decade ago, if you thought about a trench coat in the sense that it is timeless, you'd be referring to a slim-fitting trench coat that hit above the knee that was belted at the waist, which is very different to the idea of a trench coat now in the sense of being timeless. It's longer, it's looser through the body, and it doesn't always come with a belt, especially if you're thinking of something like Cézanne's Clyde trench, which is more of a Mac style trench coat. I have shared a video which talks all about how to improve your style, which I'm going to link up in the cards, but I do have some questions that you can add to this conversation which will help you to identify whether your hand has been swayed in some way or you truly really do like the item for what it is. First question is, would I wear this if no one else was wearing it? If you didn't see it on social media, is it something you would even think to wear? And listen, I actually think that social media can be good in terms of exploring the boundaries of our style and giving you space to experiment with different silhouettes. But the question is, if you took that away, would you still want to wear that item, or are you only wearing it because you see that it is trendy right now? Do you own items in your wardrobe that you still love years later? That is really the true definition of items that kind of fall within your personal style. If you look at women who have had a consistent style over the years, which many people will say is timeless for them because it reflects their essence, it reflects their true self, it is things that they have unequivocally loved and selected to be part of their wardrobe and their style, and they have not wavered or changed from that, you can see that there is a real consistent through line. There are things that they continue to gravitate towards, though maybe with slight new flourishes over the years or slight little tweaks. And the last question I would ask is, am I buying this because I keep seeing this online? And this last point really speaks to our desire to fit in, to be part of a group, to signal to others, I'm just like you. And look, if you really want to truly objectively know what is your style, the best way to do this is to reduce your screen time. And after a while, spend some time in real life in the shops and see what jumps out at you, because you might just be surprised. I think there's always going to be a part of us, our ego, that doesn't want to admit just how big a role trends have in shaping our personal style, because the very definition of the phrase suggests just that it's personal. And it's not to say that you haven't chosen the items that you're wearing or how you've chosen to wear them, but more that trends have had a guiding hand in shaping your eye to appreciate a certain aesthetic. Remember, social media is an echo chamber. If you engage with something, it's going to tell the algorithm that that is what you like, and you're going to get served more of it. And then it's going to reinforce these ideas that is what is trendy, that is the appropriate, accepted way to dress, and that is where we really start to see these trends emerge. I'd love to continue exploring this idea with you, so please share any contributions you want to make to the discussion down in the comments section below. And I'd also love to know if you enjoyed this type of video and if you'd like to see me do more fashion deep dives, as I love a bit of an in-depth discussion on a topic like this. Thank you so much for watching. If you did like this, I would love if you could give the video a thumbs up, as it really does help me with the algorithm, and I will see you next week with a brand new video. Thanks for watching. Bye.